Hi, I'm Eric Schumacher Rasmussen. I'm the VP and Editor-in-Chief of Streaming Media, and I'm here at the Northern Waves event in Oslo. And I'm speaking with Anette Mellbye, who is a digital strategy leader. She's worked with a who's who of media and other types of companies, and focuses really on all things digital. So welcome, Anette.
Thank you.
In your talk today, you talked about the difference between digitization and digital transformation. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. A problem today is that so many companies and so many CEOs are talking about the need to digitalize and the need for to digitalize the company. The problem is that companies has been digitalizing for the last 30 years or something. Mm-hmm. And the fact is that what companies need to do now is digitally transform. They need to transform their business model as opposed to using digital as a tool to increase the efficiencies of the current business model. So digitalization means using digital tools to make the current business more efficient, mm-hmm. whereas digital transformation is about finding entirely new business models, as the old business models are approaching the due date.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You also talked in your presentation about how companies need to move from thinking of themselves as industry players to becoming ecosystem players.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, as we move from an analog market to a digitally connected marketplace, mm-hmm. we see that industry boundaries blur. And the reason why they blur is that everything is connected. Mm-hmm. And then user experiences from one company to another bump into each other. It becomes difficult to see where one company ends and another one begins.
Sure, right.
So you can't as easily as in the analog world see the differences mm-hmm. between companies. And since all businesses are driven by data, it becomes increasingly easy for a company operating in one industry to enter a new industry. So in this world, CEOs will get used to having competitors coming from completely new angles.
Okay.
And unexpected angles. And you will also see that companies will have to work closer with their partners and be part of an ecosystem, because eventually the biggest innovation potential lies in between the mm-hmm. industries. So I think that companies that do not orient themselves in their ecosystem will be at huge disadvantage going forward.
Right, that makes sense. In your talk, you also talked about the typical S-curve that moves from, I believe, a launch or a company or product launch to ultimately stagnation.
Yeah. Right?
And you talked about how Netflix is an example of a company that has stayed ahead of that S-curve by continually reinventing itself.
Yes.
How have they done that, and what can other companies in the TV space learn from them?
Well, the thing is that legacy mm-hmm. TV companies, most of them has only experienced one business model, which means one S-curve. Mm-hmm. And just operating with one stable business model for a very long time makes you really, really good at best practice, mm-hmm. at processes and silos and hierarchies and control and command leadership. Whereas when technology growth now turns exponential, meaning that technologies are changing all the time, business models also change all the time. So in order for companies to stay ahead, they need to learn to jump these S-curves, moving from one business model to the other. And contrary to what many people tend to believe, that we just have to find one new business model and then we can lay down again and focus. Companies need to reinvent continuously, because change is the new constant. Mm-hmm. They need to reinvent and reinvent and reinvent, and meaning that they also need to change the company culture from hierarchies and control and command leadership into more agile organizations, moving fast, responding to change.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your insights, and I think they're insights that anyone in the TV or OTT or streaming ecosystem can learn a lot from.
Thank you.